If celebrating your wins feels like bragging and downplaying your accomplishments feels safer than owning them, you're not humble, sis. You're shrinking. And on this week's podcast, we're going deep on why. Now let's get into this week's episode. Welcome back to The Gentle Fix. I'm Shay, capacity strategist and founder of ESSENTFLOW. And today, we are solving this problem. I feel arrogant when I celebrate my wins. Let me say that one more time. I feel arrogant when I celebrate my wins. I just want you to raise your hand. And even if you don't raise your hand, how many of you actually feel like this? How many? How many of you actually feel arrogant when you celebrate your wins, when you talk about what you've accomplished, when you talk about what you've done? How many? Just know that this is the intro, the starting point. It is the beginning of understanding what all of this means. But if you want the full breakdown, the research, the psychology, the 17-year through line on why high-capacity people like you and me shrink our accomplishments, then stay tuned to this week's podcast, ESSENTFLOW by Shay, Too Much for the Room. Now let's get into this gentle fix. So here's your problem. You hit a milestone. You accomplish something real. And instead of celebrating it, you downplay it. Oh, it's not that big of a deal. I mean, anyone could have done it. I just got lucky. So you minimize it, you deflect, and you make yourself smaller. On purpose. Because claiming your accomplishments feels like arrogance. And if there's one thing you've learned in this life, it's that taking up space makes people uncomfortable. So you shrink. But here's what's actually happening. You've been told you're too much so many times that you've learned to be less, even with your own achievements. You're not being humbled. You're performing humility to avoid being called arrogant, attention-seeking, or full of yourself. And you've tried just being grateful instead of celebrating. You've tried sharing your wins quietly, maybe in a small circle, or maybe not at all. Or you've tried waiting until someone else celebrates you, so you don't have to claim it yourself. And guess what? None of it worked. And it's because the problem isn't how you celebrate. The problem is that you don't believe you're allowed to. Meaning, you don't give yourself the permission to celebrate the things you've accomplished, you have achieved, you've done, you've completed. Because it feels like arrogance or it feels shameful. Now here's how we turn that around. Claiming your milestones, once again, isn't arrogance. It's evidence. Evidence that you showed up. Evidence that you followed through. Evidence that the work you're doing is real. And for high capacity people like you and I, who spent their entire lives being told they're too much, we must understand that claiming our wins is an act of reclamation. Now, here's how we put this into practice. When you hit a milestone, name it out loud. Say it with your chest, okay? Don't qualify it, don't diminish it, don't add, but it's not that big of a deal because it is. It is. I want you to just say it. I finished the thing I said I was going to finish. I hit the goal I set for myself. I showed up for 17 weeks in a row and didn't quit. That's it. That's all. That's the whole thing. That's all I want you to do. Name it. Say it out loud. And be proud of it. And if it feels uncomfortable, good. That discomfort is the gap between the person who you've been performing and the person you actually are. Which one holds more weight? I want you to sit in it. Let it feel weird. Let it feel awkward. Feel the tension. And I still want you to claim it anyway. Now that's the gentle fix. That's the gentle way. It's just speaking it out loud. But if you truly want to understand why this is so hard for people like us specifically, and why shrieking your accomplishments is tied to survival, performance, the rooms you've been standing in your entire life, we'll be unpacking that on this week's podcast. ESSENTFLOW by Shay, Too Much for the Room. Why claiming your milestones feels like arrogance, and how to stop shrinking. We're going into the research, the identity work, the trauma of being told you're too much, and how it shows up in the way you celebrate or don't celebrate your wins. Now it's going to be a deep one. And if this video resonated with you, the podcast is going to land even harder. So if you've been downplaying your wins, minimizing your milestones, or waiting for someone else to celebrate you, this is your permission to stop. Stop. Please understand you're allowed to take up space, even in your own accomplishments. Claiming your milestones isn't arrogance. It's reclamation. And this is the Gentle Fix. I'm Shay, and I'm so glad you're here. And remember, the full conversation is waiting for you on the podcast that drops Tuesday at 6 p.m. See you in the next episode.